Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some very interesting market news now in regards to both Sony, Activision, Xbox, and all of that. Because as you guys probably know, we've made a few videos on it, and it's also been up on Reddit, up on Twitter, up on pretty much every major news article talking about the fact of this huge Microsoft basically acquisition when it comes to Activision. And I kind of made a video on this yesterday, if you guys saw that video, basically showing that Sony might be a little bit in trouble when it comes to that because it's taken away some of the biggest games, such as say Call of Duty, which is phenomenally huge in terms of sale, in terms of revenue, in terms of microtransactions, in terms of actual day-to-day player bases, as well as also a really big incentive for people to go and keep their PS Plus to be able to go play these types of games. And I think a lot of the calls that I was saying as of yesterday would make a lot of sense because as of today, Sony stock fell more than $20 billion worth of actual just price on this. $20 billion. Mind you, that's just more so on the overall market cap and the actual overall price of the company itself. But either way, that is astronomical. That's literally billions of dollars worth of evaluation gone just after the one day, right after this huge market acquisition. So we have a lot of stuff to go talk about, some numbers to go talk about as well, and just kind of intriguing to go and see where Microsoft, Activision, everything else went from this deal. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway going on the channel itself. Amazon links down below for the PS5 disc, digital console controller, Twitter and Twitch stream as well down below. If you guys want to follow, sign up for Weeble, deposit $100. You guys will get free stock and free money. Same with that Coinbase too as well. And I just appreciate all of you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys all so much for chilling. Let's go and dive on in. So as I mentioned, we actually had a pretty big thing going on when it came to that big acquisition, hard to say, for Microsoft, where basically they went and spent billions of dollars to make sure they can go get World of Warcraft, Candy Crush, Call of Duty, and all these other various games. And rightfully so, the internet definitely blew up as of yesterday. But today, we kind of have the post-after effects too as well from everything that happens. Let's go talk about a few different articles, talk about a few different stocks and all of this. But basically, Sony shares fell sharply after news of Microsoft deal for Activision. Sony stock has tumbled, why investors are worried about the Microsoft's Activision deal. And overall, Microsoft deal wipes $20 billion off of Sony's market value in just a singular day. So, I was going to even kind of maybe use some of these numbers over here. Say, look for Sony, which went down 5%, which is huge if it comes to the stock market, if you guys haven't known on that. Microsoft still, even after today, even though the market was a little bit more of a red day overall, still went positive on the day as well. And Activision went down just a little tiny bit, but don't forget it actually literally went up $20 per share based on the news of the Microsoft potential acquisition in the near future. So let's go talk about some of these things, talk about the numbers, talk about the reporting and all that. So from Bloomberg themselves, Sony corporate shares fell 13%. That's nuts. In Tokyo on Wednesday, their biggest drop since October 2008, which, as you guys probably know, there's kind of like regards a lot to like a big financial crisis and everything else tied on in. After PlayStation rival Microsoft Corp announced the $69 billion deal to acquire games publisher Activision Blizzard. So you can kind of go and tell. Right now, everything is going crazy when it comes to the world, when it comes to Omicron, when it comes to COVID, when it comes to basically even just these huge gaming acquisitions. The world is going nuts. It's all over the place. So blockbuster acquisition escalates Microsoft spending spree to secure intellectual property assets now for its Xbox Game Pass service, wiping $20 billion off of Sony's evaluation in a day. The push is to attract paying subscribers with an overwhelming portfolio of games challenges Sony's traditional console business model that relies on high-profile exclusive titles and then hardware sale. Games and network services account for about 30% of Sony's revenue. So I do want to say a few different things, though. Number one, this huge drop is kind of a big deal, and I would say this basically huge Microsoft acquisition is a huge deal. But don't forget, Sony as an overall company does do other things. So in terms of movies, in terms of production, in terms of like other things besides gaming hardware. Although PlayStation is huge in regards to Sony, there's many other various things. And the same thing with Microsoft, where Microsoft more focused on Windows, more focused as well as on in terms of like cloud hosting and server hosting, and also obviously, the Xbox is a nice little added addition when it comes to that. So basically, Microsoft announced as of Tuesday that it also has over 25 million as of this second Game Pass subscribers, which is always intriguing because it doesn't, usually they try to be a little bit more on the low-key side in terms of numbers, in terms of people subscribe for it, etc., etc. With all them also saying, as you guys probably know, we will offer as many Activision games as we can with an Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass, as well, spanning both existing and new titles according to Phil Spencer, chief of, well, Call of Duty now at this point. Sony will have a monumental challenge on its hands to stand on its own in this war of attrition, which would make a lot of sense because Sony is sitting on a decent amount of money, but it's not sitting on Microsoft money. Sony as an overall company is bigger than Xbox, but Microsoft as an overall company is bigger than Sony. So it was kind of intriguing to go and see with all this too, because now with Call of Duty, as I kind of mentioned yesterday, pushing to an exclusive right now, if that was on Game Pass, and that was also up on PC as well, that takes a lot of money from basically Sony's pocket, a lot. And then what else is left? You have like Fortnite, but even then, don't forget you have things like, say, Minecraft that is owned by, obviously, Microsoft, which is huge. That's a huge, huge deal breaker. And just a lot of really big games too as well. So for this, it's just crazy to go and see the overall numbers going down. Sony's stock got destroyed. And I think it's a little bit on the overreaction side. I don't think it's purely just because, Microsoft buying out that stuff, although it definitely does probably play a big part. But it's crazy just to see how much money that Sony can literally lose $20 billion worth of market evaluation in literally just one day, especially after the news of these huge, huge actual deals going on. But the also intriguing thing too in the overall markets is that other games industries kind of actually got bumped up to a little bit. Because you see how kind of high that Activision price point was for the acquisition. So we kind of covered this yesterday too, but also other things such as, say, Capcom and also Square Enix as well are also up huge amounts up in the Tokyo markets, which would also make sense too because we saw things like Ubisoft and EA also having a nice little straight line going up right after this big acquisition, which I do think kind of comes into like a lot into the fact of they're like, hey, maybe Sony wants to go do a nice little YOLO purchase. Hey, maybe Microsoft wants to buy even another big gaming company too. And obviously, the more money you can make, the more speculation tied on in means more potential future sales as well. Because if you're someone like Sony and you went and bought Square Enix, you'd be doing and feeling pretty good with their animation, with their games and everything else tied on in, even for things like, say, Final Fantasy. So it's always kind of cool to go and see how this is all kind of partnering on up and how the overall gaming industry is reacting. But of course, too, it's kind of also at least still lets Sony have a little bit of a lead in the sales, where Sony has maintained a consistent lead in sales and exclusives games over Microsoft's competing offerings across several PlayStation, Xbox generations. So we even right now, the Xbox Series X definitely doesn't sell out as fast. In terms of walk-ins, they will sometimes be sitting there still. In terms of PlayStations, they usually are, even for bundles, selling out very, very quickly, which is always crazy to go and see. But now that this is also kind of termed to see this, is that Microsoft does seem like it's more willing to start spending and utilizing its big cash flow to basically go and make sure Xbox has a really big, sharp edge over Sony, which would make a lot of sense because this puts Sony under a lot of pressure. Spending stuff like this, as I mentioned before, Call of Duty is one of the biggest games out there. You have games like Candy Crush that just prints money. You have World of Warcraft that, even though it's been kind of being tapered on down these past few years, still has a very active player base. And a lot of other really big IPs and iconic IPs such as Diablo, StarCraft, Overwatch, and just a lot of other various games that people would probably want to go and play. So it's always cool to see. So I think the big struggle here too as well is that Sony will be struggling to match the Microsoft in terms of how much money you can actually spend to buy game IPs. Because we saw that with Bethesda, we saw that with also obviously with Activision, and while Sony's definitely been picking up a few various game companies and also more so working in-house, and they still make really good games and have had really good decision making in terms of what games they want to go and work with and make and buy, it is kind of hard to go compete with, say, Call of Duty, or go and compete with Skyrim, or compete with, all the other various Bethesda games, such as Starfield, that are also going to be on day one Game Pass as well. And the kind of the big thing too is falling shares illustrates that investors are worried that Sony may not be able to keep winning if indeed the industry shifts away from the hardware-based model. And in all honesty, I think the hardware-based model as of right now is still a big thing to people want it. It's a little bit cheaper, it's optimized, that's a good baseline, and it's just very easy, especially if you're younger. But I will go and say, as a PC user for the past God knows how long, very long time, especially because I stream up on Twitch all the time, follow the Twitch stream. But when it comes to that, it's kind of nuts because at the end of the day, PC is, honest to God, probably where it's going to go in the future. Same with cloud gaming as well, when it comes to mobile, when it comes to TV, and also obviously PC, laptops, iPads, etc. We even see the success of that too as well for other various mobile games, where some of the mobile games are some bigger than usually, honest to God, AAA games as of nowadays. So I kind of want to hear all of your thoughts and comments down below. Sony stock going down a bunch is always kind of a not good sign, especially after a huge acquisition, but as well, that is kind of just the end all be all when it comes to the stock market itself. So give me your thoughts, give me your comments on the Activision buy as well. Give your thoughts on all the Microsoft too in general. I always love to hear your thoughts. I know it's kind of been a big hot topic throughout these past few days, but I would love to go and see everything down below. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for the PS5 Digital Console Controller. Twitter and Twitch stream as well, link down below. Sign up for Weeble, deposit $100. You guys go get free stock and free money. Same with that Coinbase too as well. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. You guys are all fantastic. I'll see you guys later on throughout today for some more videos. Y'all are beautiful.